In this video, I'm going to be solving two-step and multi-step inequalities. Once I solve them, I will be graphing their solutions. So let's look at the first problem. In both cases, though, we're going to treat these as if they're regular equations. The only difference is we actually graph their solutions and we'll have some type of line. So here's the first one. Basically, what I'm going to want to do on this left side is follow my order of operations. So 2 minus 5 is a negative 3. And it's negative 4 times that. And on this right side, this says the quantity of negative 3 squared. So that's negative 3 times negative 3. Well, a negative times negative is a positive, and 3 times 3 is 9, so my answer is positive 9. On the left side now, I'm going to want to do negative 4 times negative 3, which is a positive 12. At this point now, I'm going to want to move my 9 over to the other side since h is on the right side. So I'm going to subtract 9. Because it is positive. I'm going to get 0 here, 3 here. So my new problem now looks like this. Now this is a negative h, so what I need to do is divide by this negative 1. And in doing so, remember, if we multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign. So it's going to be negative 3 is less than h. But for me to graph it, I prefer having the variable first. So really this turns into h is greater than negative 3. So now, when I go to graph my solution, since h is greater than negative 3, I want to make sure I include something, let's say, just before negative 3. And since it's greater, that means it's going to increase as it goes to the right. And for negative numbers, that means they become less negative and actually turn into positives. So since h is greater than negative 3, it's going to have an open circle on negative 3, and the line's going to move to the right. Now in my second problem here, the problem that tends to be kind of confusing is the fact that this expression n plus 3 is being divided by 2. We have a fraction here. No worries though. The way we can think of this as proportions. If we think of this as an equation, if we put negative 4 over 1, we can think of this as cross multiplying. So I'm going to do 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8 on the right side. And then for the left side, I'm going to do 1 times m plus 3, which is just m plus 3. Now we have to be careful though, because we did multiply this 2 over here by a negative 4. Since 2 was positive, I multiplied by a positive. It doesn't matter that our answer is negative. We multiplied by a positive, therefore our inequality does not change. Now, this is just a regular equation, so we're going to, inequality we can treat as an equation. Subtract 3. This becomes negative 11, so really our answer now is m is less than or equal to negative 11. So let's go ahead and graph our solution. Since it's less than negative 11, that means it's going to get more negative, so it's going to decrease. So negative 10, negative 11. I'm going to do just enough of these just to kind of get the idea to see the trend happening. So x is less than or equal to negative 11. Since it's less than or equal to, we're going to have a closed circle on negative 11, and then the graph goes to the left. So when we solve these types of inequalities, two-step or multi-step inequalities, again, we approach it with the mindset of it being an equation. We just have to be careful if we multiply or divide by negatives, which the only case we had to do was in this case because h had a negative 1 in front of it. And in that case, when we do multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to flip the sign.